can you really fall asleep in just 2 minutes?
I mean, that's the dream, right?
It is. A so-called military sleep method is gaining global attention right now. It's being widely shared on social media, promoted as this secret technique used by soldiers to fall asleep under extreme pressure.
Yeah, you see it everywhere. Just boom, out in 2 minutes.
Right. But we really need to ask, does science actually support this claim? Or is it just another viral sleep myth amplified by digital platforms?
That is exactly what we are going to break down today.
In this deep dive, we are going to examine the origins of the method, what the actual experts say, and whether it truly works for you. Because let's face it, we are dealing with a massive global sleep crisis right now.
We absolutely are. If you look at the data in our source stack, rising insomnia rates worldwide are staggering.
Yeah, the numbers they're kind of wild.
Depending on the specific demographic in the study, anywhere from 5 to 50% of the global population is currently struggling with insomnia or some form of severe sleep disturbance.
Half the world, up to half the world is just walking around exhausted.
Exactly. And the causes are everywhere. It's stress, it's digital exposure, looking at screens right until we close our eyes, and just general lifestyle factors.
That's right, the 204/7 culture.
So naturally, there's a growing demand for quick solutions. People are desperate. They want a button they can press to just power down.
Which perfectly explains why a video promising a 2-minute sleep hack goes incredibly viral. But our mission today is to look past the hype. We have a great stack of sources for this. We're pulling from the original 1981 book by Lloyd Bud Winter called Relax and Win.
The actual origin of the method.
Yes. Plus, we have clinical perspectives from U.S. Army neuroscientist Dr. Allison Breaker and sleep experts Dr. Hugh Selsick and Dr. Alex Rockcliffe.
It's a really solid foundation of evidence-based reporting.
So let's start at the beginning. The origins of this 2-minute military method. Where did this actually come from?
Yeah.
Because it didn't start on a social media app.
No, it definitely did not. It was developed by a man named Lloyd Bud Winter.
And he wasn't even strictly military at first, right?
Right. He was a highly successful track and field coach, or sprint coach. But during World War II, he was brought in to work with the U.S. Navy pre-flight school.
Okay, so he's dealing with military pilots during wartime. That is a whole different level of stress.
A completely different universe of stress. These pilots were dealing with unimaginable pressure. They were essentially freezing up in aerial combat because they couldn't relax. They were physically and mentally locked up.
Which leads to fatal errors.
Exactly. So the military needed a way to train these pilots to relax and perform, and critically, to rest in high-stress environments. We're talking about trying to sleep with the sound of artillery in the background.
So this wasn't about getting a cozy 8 hours in a nice bed. It was a strict survival mechanism.
Yes. Winter focused on intense muscle relaxation combined with mental imagery. And he documented the system in his book, Relax and Win. But here is the massive detail that social media completely ignores.
The catch.
Oh.
I knew there was a catch.
The catch is the timeline. Winter stated very clearly that it took his pilots 6 weeks of continuous practice to get to the point where they could fall asleep in 2 minutes.
6 weeks.
6 weeks of discipline.
See, that changes everything. The viral videos make it seem like you could just do this tonight and you'll be out before your head settles into the pillow.
And when it doesn't work on the first try, people get frustrated and give up. It's a conditioned biological response. You are training your nervous system.
Okay, so with the caveat that this takes over a month of practice, let's actually walk through the steps of the method, because it is highly structured.
It's very systematic. It starts with the physical body, specifically progressive muscle relaxation, and it begins right at the top of your face.
Right. The instructions say to relax the forehead, the jaw, and the muscles around the eyes.
And that jaw part is absolutely critical. We hold an incredible amount of tension in our jaw. Evolutionarily, clenching the jaw is a signal to your brain that you are under threat. It's a fight or flight response.
So by actively relaxing it, you're sending a safe signal to the brain.
Exactly. You are physically communicating safety. Next, you drop your shoulders as low as they can go. Just let them fall.
Releasing all that neck tension.
Then you move down the arms, you relax them one side at a time, upper arm, forearm, wrist, right down to the fingertips.
It's almost like you are systematically unplugging different zones of your body.
Unplugging is a great way to describe it. Then you take a deep exhale to relax the chest. And finally, you move down the legs, thighs, calves, ankles, feet.
So by the end of this, you're basically a puddle on the mattress.
Physically, yes. But a relaxed body doesn't guarantee sleep if your mind is racing.
Oh, absolutely. My body can be totally limp, while my brain is aggressively planning out a conversation I might have 3 years from now.
Which is why the mental imagery is the second half of Winter's method. He suggested specific visualizations to clear the mind.
One of them was lying in a canoe on a calm lake, right?
Yes, with nothing but a clear blue sky above you.
Very peaceful. But the other one was a bit more, well, intense.
You mean the hammock?
Yeah. Imagining you're in a black velvet hammock in a pitch black room. It sounds almost like sensory deprivation.
That's exactly what it is. It's forcing your mind to look at a blank slate. But Winter knew that visualization doesn't work for everyone. Minds wander.
So he had an antidote for that.
He did. If your mind starts to drift, the instruction is to repeat the phrase, don't think, don't think, don't think, continuously for 10 seconds.
Which sounds so counterintuitive. Like if I say, don't think about a bear, I'm instantly thinking about a bear.
But this isn't about suppressing a specific image. It's about jamming the language center of your brain.
Jamming it.
Yes. If your brain is busy repeating, don't think, it physically doesn't have the processing power to also articulate your anxieties about work tomorrow.
Well, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
You're just occupying the bandwidth with a repetitive neutral signal.
Precisely. And from a psychological standpoint, none of this is a classified military secret. Progressive muscle relaxation and visualization are well-established clinical techniques.
The military just packaged it into a very effective, disciplined routine.
Exactly. But this brings us to the scientific perspective on the actual goal of this method, that 2-minute timeline.
Right. Let's get into what the experts say about the speed. Because Dr. Alison Brager, the neuroscientist with the U.S. Army, has some strong warnings about this.
She does. Dr. Brager points out a really important biological reality. Falling asleep in under 2 minutes is not a sign that you are a champion sleeper.
It's not.
No. In fact, it is often a clinical red flag. If you are falling asleep that quickly, it usually indicates severe sleep deprivation.
Wait, so if I hit the pillow and I'm out 60 seconds, I shouldn't be proud of that.
You shouldn't be proud of it. You should be concerned. It means your body is so exhausted that it's crashing. It's skipping the normal transitional phases of sleep and just shutting down to survive.
That is a massive perspective shift. So what is the normal timeline? How long should it take the average person to fall asleep?
The clinical baseline for a healthy sleep latency, that's the time it takes to drift off, is anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes.
Yeah. 5 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that buffer is normal. It's the time your brain needs to transition from wakefulness to rest.
But going back to the soldiers, if this method makes them fall asleep in 2 minutes, why is that?
Dr. Brager notes that if soldiers are falling asleep that fast, it's heavily influenced by the fact that they are physically exhausted from training or combat. It's not just the magic of the breathing technique.
They're already operating at a deficit.
Exactly. And this highlights the real danger of the viral trend. Unrealistic expectations can severely increase anxiety.
Because if I think I'm supposed to be asleep in 2 minutes, and then at 3 rolls around, I start to panic.
And what happens when you panic?
I get stressed, my heart rate goes up, and I'm wide awake.
Right. You enter an anxiety loop. Performance anxiety about sleep causes a release of adrenaline and cortisol. You are biologically signaling your body to wake up and deal with a threat, the threat being your own failure to fall asleep.
That is wild. By trying so hard to hack my sleep, I'm literally keeping myself awake.
It's a self-sabotaging cycle. Which brings us to a really powerful quote from our sources, specifically from Dr. Hugh Selsick.
Yes, I remember this one.
He said, "Sleep is not a switch you turn on. It is a biological process you allow."
I love that phrasing,
Yeah.
a process you allow. It completely changes the relationship you have with your rest. It's about surrender, not control.
You cannot command your biology. You can only set the stage for it. And Dr. Selsick is also very critical of another major source of sleep anxiety, the 8-hour myth.
This is huge, because we are all told constantly that if we don't get exactly 8 hours of sleep, we are failing. We're damaging our health.
But science shows that sleep needs vary genetically. Quality matters far more than rigid hour counts.
Dr. Selsick uses this amazing analogy in the source material. He compares sleep to shoe size.
The shoe size analogy is brilliant. He explains that the average shoe size might be an 8, but that doesn't mean every single human being needs a size 8 shoe.
Right. Some people are a size 6, some are a size 10.
If you force a person with a size 6 foot to wear a size 8 shoe, they are going to be uncomfortable. It's the same with sleep. Some people are genetically hardwired to need 9 hours. Some only need 6 or 7.
So if I'm a size 6 sleeper, meaning my body only needs 6 hours to recover, but I force myself to lay in bed for 8 hours because an article told me to.
You are going to spend 2 hours awake in bed, frustrated, staring at the ceiling.
And building that anxiety loop again.
Exactly. You start associating your bed with stress and wakefulness, which is the exact opposite of what you want.
Okay, so if the 2-minute timer is a bad metric, and the strict 8-hour quota is a bad metric, how do you actually know if you are sleeping properly?
The experts agree that the most reliable indicator is functional daytime alertness.
Functional daytime alertness, so just how you feel during the day.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
If you can get through your day, do your work, drive a car, and interact with people without feeling overwhelmingly drowsy, assuming you aren't masking it with 10 cups of coffee, then your sleep is likely fulfilling its biological purpose.
Even if it was only 7 hours. Even if it took you 20 minutes to fall asleep.
Even then, functional daytime alertness is the real indicator. Let go of the rigid numbers and listen to your body.
That is incredibly freeing to hear.
It takes the pressure off.
So we've debunked the 2-minute hack and the 8-hour rule. What actually works? Let's move into the practical, evidence-based tips from our deep dive. Because the military does have good sleep discipline, even if it's not a magic 2-minute spell.
They absolutely do. Dr. Alex Rockcliffe, who works with the British Army, gave some great insights into this. For soldiers, it's heavily about managing their environment.
Because they're sleeping in communal barracks, right?
Yeah.
It's not a quiet, dark bedroom.
It's loud, there are 12 other people, lights are turning on and off, so they use practical tools. Eye masks and earplugs.
Which sounds basic, but how many of us actually use them?
Very few. We expect to just close our eyes and ignore the siren outside or the blinking light from our charger. Dr. Rockcliffe advocates for actively controlling the environment. Block out the noise, block out the light.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Treat your bedroom like a bunker. What else?
The next tip is probably the most effective, but also the most unpopular.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. The fixed wake-up time.
Yes. Waking up at the exact same time every single day, weekends included.
That is brutal. Why is that so critical?
Because your circadian rhythm thrives on a fixed anchor. When you wake up at the same time, you are setting a biological timer. It regulates when you will feel sleepy that night.
But what if I had a terrible night's sleep? What if I only slept 3 hours? Shouldn't I sleep in to catch up?
No. And that is the hardest part for people to accept. If you sleep in, you are stealing from your sleep hunger for the following night.
Sleep hunger. That's an interesting term.
It's the concept of sleep pressure building up during the day. Think of it like regular hunger. If you want to eat a huge dinner, you don't snack all afternoon.
Right.
If you want to sleep deeply at night, you need to build up that sleep hunger. This is why experts advise against long daytime naps if you suffer from insomnia.
You're snacking on your sleep pressure.
Exactly. You want to go to bed only when you are truly sleepy, when that pressure is at its peak.
Okay, so we have the fixed wake-up time. We're avoiding naps to build sleep hunger.
Yeah.
What about when you're actually in bed?
This brings us to Dr. Selznick's most counterintuitive rule. It's called stimulus control therapy, or simply the get-up rule.
Getting out of bed to fall asleep.
If you have been in bed for about 20 minutes and you are not asleep, or if you start feeling that familiar frustration creeping in, you need to physically get out of bed.
Leave the room entirely.
Leave the room if possible. Go somewhere quiet. Keep the lights extremely dim.
What did you do? Just sit there?
Do something mundane. Read a boring book. Fold some laundry. Listen to a calm, low-volume discussion. But absolutely no screens, no phones.
How long do you stay up?
Until your eyelids are literally drooping. Until you feel that heavy, involuntary wave of sleepiness. Only then do you go back to bed.
The idea being that you have to break the negative association with the mattress?
Yes. You must create a disciplined night routine where the brain associates the bed with one thing and one thing only: sleep. Not worry, not tossing and turning, not checking emails.
It's pure behavioral conditioning.
It is. And when you combine that with standard sleep hygiene, turning off screens an hour before bed, lowering the room temperature, you are working with your biology instead of fighting it.
So bringing it all together, the 2-minute military sleep method may offer some fantastic relaxation techniques worth trying. Progressive muscle relaxation is great,
It is. It's a wonderful way to wind down.
but no technique can override biology.
Absolutely not. Healthy sleep is built on discipline, consistency, and realistic expectations, not a stopwatch.
Exactly. We bring you this in-depth analysis because understanding the science is the first step to actually fixing the problem.
And if you value clarity over noise, these evidence-based approaches are what will actually move the needle for your health.
Before we wrap up this deep dive, there's one final provocative thought I want to leave you with. We spend so much time tracking our sleep, grading it with apps, obsessing over perfect numbers and perfect methods.
It becomes a performance.
Right. But what if the sheer act of obsessing over perfect sleep is the very thing preventing it? If you completely let go of the pressure to be a good sleeper, if you just allowed the process to happen without grading yourself, would that surrender finally bring you the rest you've been chasing?
It's definitely something to think about tonight.
Thank you for tuning in to our deep dive.
Sleep well, everyone.